welcome back to MK Motorsports. Today we are kicking off part 5 of the Deatschwerks fuel system upgrades on the 2004 Silverado. What is part 5? What are we installing? Absolutely nothing. I don't have any more parts. I'm done. I'm out of parts. But I will give you some tips and tricks and pointers on how to get this system primed up and working correctly. That way you can go out there and enjoy this. Everything from priming up the surge tank to getting your fuel pressure regulator dialed in. So stick around. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to prime up the stage 1 pump in the surge tank. Both of my in-tank pumps and surge tank pump runs on the same circuit, so when you key on, they both kick on to start priming up the fuel lines and the fuel rails and everything like that. However, the surge tank is dry and empty, so we need to fill up the surge tank to get that first stage pump under some fuel. That way it has very minimal time running dry, which running dry is not a good thing. So let me show you how we're going to get this done. Alright, so to begin we need to figure out which wire is going to energize our in-tank fuel pump. What I said in video 3 about labeling and making sure you know where things are, that's going to come into play right here. This relay, I know this very first relay closest to the headboard goes straight to my lower intake pump. So what we're going to do is energize this power wire, and that's going to feed fuel from the lower tank up to our surge tank and get this thing primed up. So I'm going to use a power probe. I use it for work, so I have it laying around. So energize. We're putting fuel into the tank as you can hear the lower pump kick on. So do this for a little while. Mind you, this tank has already been primed up and everything, but this is how we're doing it. So this tank is full and we're good to go. And so now we can actually power up the stage 1, and we are sending fuel up to the front of the engine rail. And we have the other two which may not be able to carry the load. Yep, power probe can't do both those two pumps. So anyway, let's get up to the front of the engine and let's take a look and see what we got leaking. So here we are, engine bay, looking things over, making sure nothing's leaking. Like I said in the previous videos, I had 2 injectors in the back that were leaking. Just didn't seat correctly, so I got those seated. Everything's dry. I don't smell any fuel. I'm running E85 in this tank, so I know it has kind of a distinct smell. You know, all the fittings and everything are looking nice and dry. No issues anywhere. Fuel pressure gauge, whatever that's reading, I can't see from over here, but it looks like it is about 30-40 pounds right now. So I did find out by doing this that when you prime this thing up, that gauge will read a little bit low. Once you get the vehicle started and running, that's when you can kind of set your base pressure. Back here is my boost reference vacuum line, which I do run because I am turbo, but take that off, start your engine, and you can adjust this tighter to get more fuel pressure and back it off to get less fuel pressure. And so when I actually did this, I started it up, the thing had like 80 pounds of pressure. I'm like, that's too much. So didn't find any leaks at 80 pounds, so we're good. So backed it off to the factory 58 pounds that I'm going to be running on this. And so everything is in good dry shape, so let's get this thing started. Alright, let's see what she does. Fired right up. Fuel pressure with vacuum is about 50 pounds or so, fluctuating a little bit. It'll probably line out once all the air gets kind of pushed out, but running a little rich right now. Like I said, this is still on old injector data, but the thing fires right up and runs great for no tune. Alright, so after it's started and run a little bit and I've revved it up a little bit, you know, come through here, check your hoses, make sure there's no leaks or anything like that anywhere, any of the fittings. You know, we don't want to have a fire or anything like that. Run to the front of the engine bay, take a look and see, you know, nothing looks like it's leaking or anything like that. Fuel rails are all dry. Everything's dry, you know, so just do yourself a favor, take the extra time to check on things, make sure you don't have any kind of leaks and stuff like that. So that is pretty much the rundown of it. I am fixing to button up a few loose ends on this thing, and then we'll go take this thing for a drive today and see what it does. Okay, now that we are primed up and leak free and ready to start the engine, there's one thing we have to do before we do that. We have to change the injector calibration data in the ECM. So fuel injectors are not exactly a like-for-like part install. There are a few things that you have to do. I mean, physically, yes, they just drop into the injector rail, they plug in, they're ready to go. However, they are an electronic component that meters fuel going into your engine, so there are some adjustments that need to be done in your ECM. So, Deatschwerks offers a full data sheet on these 1500cc injectors. The data is extremely accurate and very well done, and it's easy to put into any kind of tuning software platform you might have, whether it be a reflash system such as EFI Live or HP Tuners, which is what I'm going to be using, to a standalone fuel system such as Holley, Haltech, or Motec. So anyway, I'm fixing to show you a brief clip of installing the injector data into HP Tuners. Now mind you, this is extremely specific to my truck. The ECM data for the injectors is right off their website, and anybody can do it. Anything outside of the injector characteristics that I'm going to be putting in is specific to my truck, and I'm not telling you this is what it takes to tune a vehicle. This is just what works in my particular ECM. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so I'm using HP Tuners to adjust my injector data. Here it is going to be in your general tab, fuel, injector control. This gives you your offsets and whatnot. The information where I'm pulling this from is going to be from Deatschwerks website. Here is the calibration data for all this. Here's your offsets tab. Like I said, this will have multiple tables in here, but that is, from my understanding, the best I can see compared to what I've looked at is just the different operating systems between a Gen 3, Gen 4, and some of the Gen 5 stuff. But GM offset, here's the flow values. Like I said, Gen 3, 4, and 5. Short pulse adders, limits, and then your minimum pulse widths. So anyway, that's where you will obtain your data, and this is where you'll put it all in. You know, like I said, there's your flow rate, your minimum pulse, your offset table, and then short-term limit, short pulse limits, things like that. But this is where you're going to make the adjustments to correct for the new injectors. So I'm not going to really show you what values I'm using, because like I said, everybody's vehicle is going to be different, and this is not a tuning video. But that's kind of just right there. Pull it right from their website, and you can check all that stuff out at deatschwerks.com. Okay, so now that that's done, some people may not have access to a tuning software or may not be comfortable with changing injector data and things like that in their ECM. If that's the case, I recommend you taking it to a reputable and competent tuner in your area. And if you still want to learn how to do this, there's plenty of information on the internet about changing injector data and things like that. However, with the internet, you run into situations where some data is good, some data is bad. Now, I recommend Goat Rope Garage on YouTube. He's generally speaking, he's pretty much a GM platform guy. He's done a lot of HP tuner stuff, and he's done some Holley stuff. And another channel you can, I don't think it's a channel, but I think it's a website that you can go to, is HP Academy. These gentlemen are from New Zealand, and they tune anything with an ECM. It doesn't matter. GM, Subaru, Nissan, extremely good information there. So those are two avenues that you can take that I feel like are good, solid information, having websites or YouTube channels. So anyway, so that's that. I'm going to show you another pitfall that I fell into, just making a stupid mistake that I have fought with for a while, and I'll show you what I did and what the results were and what is actually going on in this situation. Okay, so as you can see, this is my current VE table that I've been running, and here's what I was fighting prior to putting in the new injectors. Let's see here. This thing is just squirrely. It's all over the place. I mean, numbers in here are relatively similar to what was in here. I mean, like I said, I made a bunch of adjustments in there and everything. But you know, that's what this right here is what I'm running right now. And the problem was on that other tune, all I kept doing was throwing fuel at it, throwing fuel at it, throwing fuel at it. Could not get the thing to richen up at all. And so after about a week of some research, I actually found out where I went wrong. So when you're forcing your ECM to go into speed density, there's a code, this P0103 code. You know, a lot of people, when they go speed density, they get rid of the mass airflow sensor altogether. Mine's still in place because it has the intake air temp sensor in it. And so a lot of people will be moved to change these values right here. So you have options of, you know, first error, second error, no light at all, no error reported. Well, you know, people don't want check engine lights, or they don't want errors in their system that they don't want to look at. So a lot of times they'll go in here and put no error reported. I happen to be one of those people, didn't think anything of it, so that's what I did, put no error reported right there. And so what happens is the ECM has to see this particular code right here, this particular DTC, to force the machine, to force the ECM to go into a speed density tune. And so what was going on is, since this code is not being reported, the ECM doesn't see it, so it doesn't know what to do, so it just starts dumping fuel or whatever it does. It just doesn't work. So like this thing wouldn't even make it down the street. It was so messed up. So anyway, that was the pitfall I fell into. So you know, what you can do for right now, since I'm tuning, that way I can go and check and see what it is. I got it to kick on as soon as the mass airflow sensor fails, throws the light and all that stuff. So when I come back in the future to finish the cleanup on it all, you know, I'll disable the let's see, what does it say? Like no MIL light, you know. So but anyway, for the time being, I wanted to do this and work. So that was kind of the pitfall I fell into. And like I said, this right here is kind of a reworked VE table that I pretty much started from scratch on it and just started working it. And you know, right now it's in pretty good shape. I still need a little bit more fine tuning, and I need to get down in here in the higher RPMs and down in boost and things like that to start dialing in. But that's just something I wanted to show you, that to be aware of if you are doing a speed density and what to watch out for. And like I said, I think I've been fighting this for some time, and how the truck ran, I don't know. But anyway, that's a pointer that took me some time to figure out that I had made a mistake. So anyway, I hope this helps anybody out, and we'll keep on going. Alright guys, that's it. The Deatschwerks fuel system upgrades on the Silverado. This project is done. It's been really fun. I've been driving the truck around. The injectors are responding really well to changes being made in the VE tables and stuff like that, so that's great. I fought the other injectors a little bit on this truck, but everything's so smooth. It drives around. The drivability is great on this. Anyway, I hope this has been an informative series on different avenues that you can take to fuel a vehicle. I'd like to really thank Deatschwerks for giving me the opportunity to showcase some of the products that they have to make everybody's life a little bit easier. This was a really fun project. I enjoyed doing this. I learned a lot about tuning and fuel supply and building stuff like that. Their products have been top-notch. I've had great luck with them in this whole entire build. I'd like to thank Matt Henson at Deatschwerks for giving me the opportunity to do this. And guys, go hit them up. If you need anything for fuel, go hit these guys up. Deatschwerks will get you taken care of. Other than that, future plans for the truck. Some of the suspension I'm not really happy with. The front end's a little bit too low. I think we'll have to end up changing the control arms or anything like that. But anyway, I plan on getting this thing out to the track. There's some road courses around Oklahoma City that I'm going to try to get into and do some of that. And anyway, I'm going to get some more videos of the truck, just driving around, cruising around. So look for new uploads and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, it's been fun. Remember, like and subscribe and tell your friends about it. And I'll put all the links to Deatschwerks, Goat Rope Garage, and HP Academy in the description, so you can check those guys out. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for everything. Y'all have a good one. We'll catch you next time.